Still can reach people not stopping the stop. So he said, "Oh yeah, I know the pool car is just stopping." So I said, "Oh yeah, the police are coming. All right. So then I said, "No, no, I said so what
just today,
should go quick fire.
so it's all still subject to a couple, some of the
Ronnie, you want to kick this off?
Yes, he told me he sent it to me, but I did not see him. I'm sorry.
You want to kick this off? We're on.
Absolutely.
Let's go.
later.
All right, let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Mitchell, why don't you lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the June 6th, 2022 Board of Trustees meeting. Just for the record, we are recording this meeting and broadcasting live. We're changing the order around a little because one of our trustees is slightly delayed. So instead of starting off with a public hearing, we're going to lead off with public comment. Anybody can speak. You have 3 minutes. If we have time, we can extend it. If not, we can do it after the meeting. But why don't we start first? Anyone have any public comments? Ms. Schulteis, I heard you had some comments.
Well, I'm here also with this lovely lady on one issue. The stop sign, the need of stop signs.
Can I just hold you up 1 second, because we've got a stenographer on watching us, and he's taking notes. So just state your name and your address, please.
My name
This
is
is gonna be
Jennifer
good.
Schulteis.
Forward. That's
I
fine.
live at 80 Farmview. Randall, you've gotten an email.
Yep.
He knows me very well. Most of the people have been a resident for 70 plus years, not me personally, but my family. We've been requesting since Bob McNamara, and I believe you can look, maybe Ron can confirm this, but 2 stop signs were approved for the 2020 budget for the Spur and for Farmview. They're still in question. This young lady is one of my neighbors, and the increased volume, as anyone who lives near Fort Washington Boulevard, and the construction is just unbelievable. They're not stopping at the stop signs, they're coming around corners, it's a scary thing.
Right.
So we're here to request some sort of, I don't know, for the village to address the stop sign issue. Maybe a speed bump for Country Club or Brookside, but definitely Farmview, because it has literally nothing coming off of Greenbrier. So it's a straight decline. In addition to that, I have construction on the corner of the Spur and Farmview, which is causing immense flooding both at 6 the Spur and my address, 80 Farmview. I have spoken to Brian, I have spoken and written to Ronnie, Bob McNamara, Robert knows about it, Rich knows about the runoff. Most of the asphalt on that side of the road has been removed and people are puncturing their tires on it. So it's not the first time I've been here, but I welcome you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Hopefully I will get a response from my email, which was written not only in April, but all of last year as well.
So I'll address the stop signs. Bob couldn't promise anything because stop signs have to be approved by the Board of Trustees.
Okay.
And I do not believe that those stop signs were ever requested to the board. We never had a public hearing on it. It's something we can consider, but it's never, Bob never followed through with
Okay.
having a public hearing on that. So
If
just so you know,
I'm-
Rich can't promise a stop
I'm
sign.
not promising,
It-
no,
it's-
I'm saying that Rich also was aware that it had been approved for the budget of that year.
No, Rich is incorrect. Ronnie, did we ever have a public hearing on those requested
No.
stop signs?
No,
So
and-
unless we-
and-
unless-
And signs are not a separate item in our budget. Street signs
We have
are
we have
lasted
stop
into other
signs.
categories. So I wonder, what he was speaking to when he told you that.
I met with you in your office, we went over it, but I don't have 3 minutes, so,
We
you
can,
can pull my file, and it's marked out, and according to, I'm going back again, God rest his soul, but I was told that it was approved. So, Mr. Mayor,
There-
if you could follow up
we
on that?
we can look into it. We'd have to have a public hearing,
Okay,
multiple public hearings to get public input, and we want to check. We had a traffic study done in the village a year or 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. We'll see if that was one of the recommended streets.
Can I just add with Jennifer? My
Sure.
name's Gloria Graver, and I'm on 132 Country Club on the corner of Brookside and Country Club. And from in front of our house, what we see coming down Country Club Drive, especially at night, sometimes there's a pool in the back that's pretty busy with children, whatever. So Dick and I will go in the front, and they're fine. And we can sit there, and we zooming down Country Club and right around onto Brookside. There's no stopping of them. You can just hear them and see them. And it's really dangerous.
Yeah.
There was a gal who has two children pushing a double stroller just this past week. She was on Brookside, right around the corner, and this blue low car came zooming down Country Club, went right around, and I thought, oh my God, she's gonna hit that stroller, that woman. They really need a stop sign on right there at the end of Country Club where it hits Brookside.
The problem with stop signs is that we have chronic repeat offenders in this
Yes.
village who never stop at stop signs. People call me all the time.
Yes.
They tell me the make and model of the car, what color it is. I've witnessed certain cars in this village never stopping at stop signs. So that's the message that has to get out there. Not more stop signs. Stop at the stop signs that are there. That's, people have to learn to stop at the stop signs. And we need to get the message out to, it's mostly the residents. It's really not people coming through. It's the taxis, again, chronic abusers.
Well, coming through from the top of where Roslyn with the viaduct, the bridge.
Yeah.
They cut through and come right down Brookside to get down to Port Boulevard. Never stop.
Yeah, they do that on Cherrywood too. I live on Cherrywood.
I mean,
There's a
it's
three-way stop sign at Cherrywood.
My point is, I'd like you to consider a stop sign on the corner of Brookside and Country Club. The people have cut their bush back, and people just zoom. They're not even going there.
That's another issue we should have a discussion about is
But we should
land,
check the traffic.
yeah, landscaping around stop signs.
So
is
what we'll
another
do
thing,
is
yeah.
I'll look at the traffic study for both of your requests,
What
see what.
about having a unmarked car? They would give out more tickets in the morning.
So let me address that. I did sit down with the commander of the 6th precinct about a month ago, and I requested that they pay a little more attention to Flower Hill. I gave them some specific areas. I can add this to the list, so their next wave, they can go and try to enforce the traffic
They
laws
can even
accordingly.
stay in my driveway, and they'll see people go right through.
Yeah, they can't do that, by the way.
Oh, they
But
can't?
no, but they have had one on Cherrywood by the flashing sign on Middle Neck Road. I've seen in the last week or two, I've seen a police officer. I've also seen them on, what's the street with the wall? Greenway.
Right.
On Greenway.
We have seen
So,
more tickets written
yeah.
in the last month since I had the conversation with the commander.
Well, I
So
hope someone doesn't
I
get
will-
killed with this.
I will
zooming
speak with him again, and I'll give him some other
Really dangerous.
streets to look at, so we can look at that.
But I think we have to get the word out. We have drive like your children live here. I mean, we have to get people to understand that they need to be careful of these stop signs.
I think what happens is a couple of well-placed tickets, then the word gets out, and people start to slow down. So I'm
Hopefully,
hoping that
yeah.
this helps.
Yeah.
So running to the train, coming back from the
Mhm.
train, it's just murderous. I hate to be sitting here 2 years from now because some little children have been killed.
Okay, great.
I just made a note that I would call the pop officer first thing, not tomorrow morning,
Right.
and add this,
Yeah.
this corner.
Let's talk to them as well.
Yeah, I mean, the sooner the better.
Thank you. That's
All
good.
right.
Thank you.
Any other?
Can I, so I'm sorry. I just wanted to have a better idea. So you're saying they're coming down Country Club onto Brookside and making which turn onto Brookside?
There's only one coming down Country Club.
In front of Bob's house.
You can turn right or you can turn left.
Yes.
Neither way are they stopping.
Okay.
Mostly going off to the right.
Okay, we'll look into
But I wish
it.
there was one for both ways, it would make more sense, but I won't be greedy, it's very, very dangerous.
I appreciate that. Any other public comment? Yes, Ms. O'Callahan?
So I just wanted to speak to the agenda item regarding.
I'm sorry, I know who you are.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Carrie O'Callaghan, Bridge Drive West.
Thank you.
And I wanted to speak to the agenda item regarding the parking restrictions on Bridge Drive West, the motion to withdraw.
Well, we're going to get to that we have to have a public hearing on that, so we haven't started the public hearing.
Okay, but I thought this was supposed to be the time for comments.
No, this is public comment.
It's a
Normally,
little confusing.
we do the
Yeah.
public comment at the end of the meeting, but I move the public comment to
This
the
is
front
for
of the meeting.
miscellaneous stuff.
Just a public hearing tonight.
Yes, it is, Pat. It's right there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So if there's no other public comment, how about we move into our public hearing? So I'll make a motion to open the public hearing. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I'm sorry, was that you?
second.
Okay. Second. yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Perfect. First public hearing is on the fireworks display. Oh, welcome, sir.
I'm Steve Sizik, I represent Hempstead Country Club.
I'm sorry, like I said, we have a stenographer listening in. A little loud.
Sure, I'm Steve Sizik, representing North Hempstead Country Club. My address is 138 Bowlby Road. And I'm here seeking approval so that we can conduct our fireworks display on Friday, July 1st. It'll have questions, but it's going to be the same probably amount, probably 1,400, 1,500 fireworks start at 9:30. My general manager will have the fire marshal and this person from the mom's phone, so scary, has his email, has his cell phone. And we will also, I've been told to let you know that various people come in by the second hole and the third hole to.
Right, like you've done
to
for the
watch what
last
we've done.
almost
So
10 years.
Nothing much has changed.
Okay.
So I'm here
Okay.
asking for your.
Ronnie, has the mailings gone out to all the
Yes,
affected
I
residents?
received the affidavit of mailing from the Pilot Club this afternoon.
Was there any comments from any residents?
Just one resident, and it seems that there's a new mailman in your neighborhood. And although the the letters were addressed to, name, like Mr. Smith or current resident, her mailman would not give it to her. So I spoke with Sonia, and we're going to update the list of names for the next time. But that was the only complaint that I got.
Do the trustees have any questions?
No.
Do any residents have any questions?
About the fireworks?
Yes,
Oh, no, I think it's terrific.
thank you.
So she's a bit,
I support it.
I planned.
All right, let's take a vote.
All right, I'll make the motion to grant the permit for the fireworks display display on July 1.
Friday, July 1st.
The rain date's the next day, probably?
I'll make the
The
motion.
rain date is actually, it may be 2 days later, maybe that's Sunday. It's that weekend.
Okay.
It's-
I'll make a motion, Ronnie.
Okay, so I have approval by the mayor and second by trustee Janice. Trustee Collins,
I'm abstaining.
trustee Collins is abstaining as a member of the club.
Yep.
Thank you.
I love.
We're all coming to your house, so it doesn't matter.
I know.
Yeah, well, you're not home. Okay, trustee Lewandowski,
Aye.
trustee Janice,
Aye.
trustee Franco, Mr. Mayor.
Aye,
Okay, granted.
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Thank you.
No,
You can go.
You're always in and out.
You're done.
All right, second public hearing is to motion to withdraw proposed local law D parking restrictions on Ridge Drive West. We've had this public hearing open for many months. The last month or so, we took no action on it, primarily because we had the plan coming in from our traffic engineer to provide us with an idea of on-street parking on Middle Neck Road so that the businesses would want to, the people who work at the businesses would find those spots more attractive instead of parking on Ridge Drive West. So this motion is to withdraw this local law. The intention being when we move forward with the Middle Neck Road parking, the plan is that should alleviate the parking situation on Ridge Drive. Any questions from any of the trustees before I open this up to the public?
Randall, I would just say one thing. If, obviously this has been going on for a very long time. So and when the 17 spots, I think it's 17 spots are opened up.
Yep.
Is there a time period by which, in other words, after 6 months or 3 months or a year or whatever, if it doesn't work, that we reopen this? Is there a
So in my letter to the residents on Ridge Drive, I did say that if I didn't give a timeline because I don't know if it's 3 months, 6 months. It might hopefully in a week. And the reason, I guess I'll jump the gun. I had productive conversations with the owners of Bryan and Cooper and with Flower Hill Auto Body, and they both enthusiastically said this would be a great idea. They believe their workers will want to park there instead of having to cross busy Middle Neck Road, walk through Joanne's parking lot, climb up the hill, and they're right there in front of their own business. They can keep an eye on their cars. So they both said, they can't force their workers, but they will encourage their workers to use these new spots. So at least the feedback I got from the business owners, speaking for their employees, was very positive. So yes, in the letter I sent to the residents that if this doesn't work, and again, we can decide amongst ourselves 3 months, 6 months, whatever, then we can readdress the parking situation on Ridge Drive. If that answers your question. All right, let's open this up to the public. Yes.
Where would this be? I'm not understanding where these 17
So
parks would
for the
be.
record, since the stenographer,
Oh, I'm sorry.
just state your name. Again, they don't know who you are.
Oh, Gloria Graver. I'm on Country Club.
Perfect. So the plan, so what happens right now, just so you know the situation, the workers from Bryan and Cooper and Flower Hill Auto Body, who there's nowhere for them to park when they go to work. So they've been parking in the residential neighborhoods on Ridge Drive, kind of up the hill from Joanne's, if you're familiar with that part of Flower Hill. And the residents who live on Ridge Drive West have not been happy with all these cars parked in front of their house at all hours, making noise, changing in their cars, and other things. This solution, we believe, after speaking to traffic engineers, to provide other public parking somewhere else that these workers will find more attractive. And the answer is Middle Neck Road. There is enough room on Middle Neck Road if we just move the yellow stripe in the middle, and if we move the white stripe in front of the apartment building, and that could add 17 parking spots. Lined parking spots. So it won't be like a car will take up 2 spots, it'll be lined. So it should be 17 stalls for 17 cars.
Thank you.
If that helps. Yes, Carrie, I'm sorry.
It's okay. So it would be an understatement to say, I would be really disappointed if we took this off the table.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Carrie O'Callaghan, Ridge Drive West. At one of the meetings last year, one of the newer, or someone.
You want to come closer to the mic, just in case they can't pick you up? Normally the stenographer is here, but they're doing it remotely this time.
This way?
Yeah, or just you can stand at the podium, whatever you like. This way you'll be on the record, that's all.
So at one of our meetings last year, one of the somewhat newer residents had said it appeared to him that the board was putting the interest of commercial businesses and their employees ahead of those of the residents. I believe that at this point. I mean, it is becoming clear that that is absolutely the case. On May 2nd, I sent an email expressing concern that the discussions regarding this issue were being adjourned for the second month in a row. I found it especially surprising that that was happening, as the adjournments came on the heels of the March meeting, where several residents showed up expressing support for some sort of restriction and concerns about the safety issues that were occurring because of the ongoing parking issues. After that time, we have since had at least 5 instances that I am aware of, including suspicious vehicles, public urination, and indecent exposure, at least 4 of which required that the police were called. I don't understand, given that series of events, right, the support, the ongoing bad behavior, how it's determined that it is in the best interest of the residents to do away with that initiative. It doesn't make sense to me. For years now, it's not months, it's years, we've worked with you in good faith. Unfortunately, it does not feel like you're doing the same for us. Now you're proposing to further, at least just for our particular home, further inconvenience us by extending the Middle Neck Road parking to where it's going to impede our ability to get in and out of our driveway safely. Based on the schematics that you showed us, it looks like the parking is going to stop right at the north edge of our driveway. So if we are backing out and need to go south, that car is going to be in our way. At the same time, if we are heading south on Middle Neck Road and trying to make the left into our driveway, and cars can't get around us to get to the green light, it's going to be bedlam. We already experienced some of it, and that's when we leave enough room for them to get around us. So I don't know what it is we're supposed to do at this point. Like I said, we were very patient, we listened, we were cooperative, we did everything that you asked us to do. And not only are we not getting anywhere, I think we're getting further behind.
All right, thank you for your comments.
I love the answer to the question, how this is in the best interest.
Well, I can ask you a few questions, if you will, because I'm not sure I totally follow you.
Sure, absolutely.
How is the proposed local law D going to help the situation with bad behavior?
Because when there are so many cars, before Brian Cooper shows up at night, on any given day, there's usually between 20 and 27 cars. When we have that many cars parked out there, non-resident vehicles parked out there, the people who are engaging in this bad behavior can fit in very easily. We had one car pulled up, the man was climbing in and out of his back seat, sleeping in the back seat, urinating on the lawn. That would stick out like a sore thumb if you didn't have 26 other vehicles surrounding him. It's just easier, and it makes it attractive for them. And that happened more than once. It actually happened 3 times.
Do we think the law will limit the number of cars parked on the street?
Absolutely, because we're trying to curtail it for a couple of hours in the morning, and then again for a couple of hours in the evening. So I think it would inconvenience them enough to find alternate areas of parking. 3 years ago, this wasn't an issue.
Right, they need to find alternate parking. So that's the idea behind the Middle Neck plan, is to find alternate parking.
Right.
So that's the public goal here. It's not having to do with the businesses, it's the public goal of us to figure out how to get public parking on a public street that's actually convenient to the users. And so that it's not that we're ignoring the residents, it's that we're actually listening to the residents of their issue and trying to solve it through a more sensible way than through maybe this law. Now, maybe we should try the law out and see if it works. It might not work. We don't know. We have no idea. It's very theoretical at this point in our heads. But what we do know is if we put on the street parking next to the businesses that desire it, need it, it ought to be used. It will be used.
And I agree with you. I think that will provide, right, it's the 17th spot that I'm questioning, first of all, with regard to my driveway.
Well,
So call it
let's get to
16.
that when we get to that public hearing.
Yeah,
We'll
so-
keep them separate.
Right, so if you have those extra spots, that's 16 cars, and that's great. But as I said, there are more than between 20 and 27 before Brian Cooper shows up at night. And what we have found, and you have seen this as well, Randall, the more spots that we provide, the more people come in and park, right? It's the people who are making the effort to park on Northern Boulevard or Old Northern Boulevard will just slot in there now. But again, I just think that doing the two things would give us the best chance at alleviating some of these issues.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'd like to follow up my wife, if that's all right.
You can stay there, Pat, your legs.
No, I can.
You sure?
Patrick O'Callahan, 9 Ridge Drive West, Flower Hill, Roslyn. Just want to, I'm not gonna, my wife was very eloquent. All I want to say is, we've lived here 30 years. For 27 years, I think I was in this building twice, okay? The fact that we've come for 3 years, basically every meeting, okay? And come here, to have it and basically to get an email. Basically, oh, we're just gonna adjourn it, we're gonna vote to adjourn it, whatever the case may be. That really, for someone who's lived here 30 years, rubs me the wrong way. Very much.
Okay.
Okay?
What would you prefer then?
I think we deserve better. I listen to you. You have really, when it comes to me and when it comes to my wife, you have a very condescending tone. You really do.
Pat.
Yeah.
Try it's on you, my friend.
I know. And call me Patrick. I don't
Sorry.
call you Randy, okay?
Call me Randy. Call me whatever you want.
So anyway, in terms of the numbers, like she had said, there's 27 cars there, 26 to 27 every morning. That road, there's 17 or 16 spots, whatever, that's gonna fill up with the auto body. You're gonna have the restaurant guys coming like they always do. They're gonna park where they're used to parking. Last week I was doing yard work. Guy parked in front of our neighbors to the north, to the south. Of course, got out of his car, started getting changed in the middle of the road. He saw me looking at him, he laughed and said, you can't do anything until you guys get signs here. So you guys keep saying that you're talking to Brian Cooper, and that Brian Cooper's, oh, they're all for it, yeah, we'll talk to the workers, blah, 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 blah. You're clearly not talking to the workers, and if they are talking to the workers, they're basically telling them, you don't have to do anything, there's no signs there. Because that guy that I spoke to, he didn't pick that up on his own.
Okay.
Okay?
I hear you.
That's it.
Any other public comment on the proposal to withdraw local law D? I think we shall, I will make a motion to withdraw this local law. Do I have a second?
I'll make the second.
You have a second, a motion by the mayor, a second by trustee Frankel. And this is a motion to withdraw proposed local law D of 2022 regarding parking on Ridge Drive West. I'm going to poll the board. Trustee Collins?
Nay.
Trustee Landowski?
Nay.
Trustee Janice?
No.
Trustee Frankel? Mayor?
Aye.
Okay, the vote fails. So, we have a majority who voted no to withdraw the local law, so it will remain on the records and we will continue with future public hearings.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think we need more information. I think we need to think about this a little bit more.
Okay. Next public hearing,
Can I just ask a question?
of
So
course, I'm sorry.
can we, so since we did not, this did not fail tonight and it's going to carry on, can we give it a certain period of time to see how the impact of the new parking spots work before we either decide yes or no on this issue?
What if we-
In other words, can we keep it open until we have enough period of time to see if this works, if there is a reduction on Ridge?
We can do that, but my intention was to withdraw this to clean the record up and then reopen it again in X amount of months after the Middle Neck Road parking was added. I don't want to keep this open for 6 more months.
I don't think it should,
Right,
I
we
don't
can
think it
adjourn
should
to-
take 6 months. I think that's.
We can adjourn to a date indefinite and then pick it up as soon as we, the spots are installed and, give it a couple of weeks to see how it's working out.
Hmm.
So we don't have to put it on next month, but we can adjourn it to that time when the striping is completed and has been operational for, a few weeks.
All right, that's the best way to do it, Samantha. I was just trying to keep the record clean, and then, as I said, bring it back if we needed to bring
No,
it
the
back.
sentiment is that.
But otherwise, it's gonna be open.
Revisit it after
That's
the
fine.
new parking is put in.
Okay.
I think we should keep the conversation going. So, I think,
Which is gonna
If we-
keep getting us-
we don't know
So it's not, something not.
how any solution's gonna work.
No,
You know,
No,
this
so-
is human behavior.
And that's why I
You
committed-
can't really control human
but
behavior.
that's why I committed to
Yeah, so I
having
just
the public hearing.
think we
again.
need to think about beyond maybe this law solution, the middle net solution. Are there other solutions out there to help? Because I think the more prongs we have, the greater rate of success we'll get.
Listen, you were at the same conversation we had with the traffic code. So that to them was their best thinking.
For middle net, yes.
Yes, for that general area.
Right.
So
Right.
you sat down with me with the guy, and he said that's what.
Right. I'm just pointing out that maybe we need to think beyond that.
Okay, do you have any suggestions? Let's talk. All right, Ronnie, back to the law
Okay, so,
adjustment.
there is a motion now on the table to adjourn, local law D to a date uncertain, pending the installation of the new parking spaces on Middle Neck Road. And, and giving it a few weeks to see how it works out. And at that time, it will be placed back on the agenda for consideration. Does anybody have any amendments to that?
I'll make that motion then.
Okay.
Makes sense.
I'll second.
Okay, trustee Collins,
Aye.
trustee Lewandowski,
Aye.
trustee Janice,
Aye.
trustee Franklin, Mayor.
Aye.
So moved. And just to let you know that our highway supervisor is soliciting bids for the work, so it's not like we're not doing it. We're actively seeking to move forward.
Well, that'll be part of the
Yeah.
next public hearing, yes. We just kind of merged everything together.
We do minutes?
You want to do the lot line, Ronnie?
Okay.
So for those of you who might have, I hope you saw my email. The applicant has withdrawn the application. So do we need to, we don't need to vote or anything for this, do we?
Well, I would just suggest that the board, having received correspondence from the attorney with respect to the applicant, that if there could just be a motion accepting the letter and allowing the matter to be deemed withdrawn.
Okay, I'll make a motion if we need to make a motion for this.
Second,
I'll second.
and all in favor?
Aye. Aye. All right, let's,
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm like a little behind. The motion was by Mayor Rosenbaum, second by trustee Franklin. Trustee Janice.
Whatever, that's fine.
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
All right, let's go out of order. Let's do local law I, since we're talking all about the parking and traffic and all that stuff. Let's do that instead, and we'll do local law H last, since we're hot on the topic. So, as I was stating earlier, and now I'll restate this, local law I is to remove the current no parking zone, I'll call it, in front of the apartment building. And the goal is to move the yellow double-lined stripe about a foot or two, depending on where it needs to move. Moving the white stripe on the west side of the street to the east, and not having to move the white line on the back, I'll call it the backyard of the Ridge Drive West residence. Space for us to add some parking. The reason we're doing this, as I stated earlier, we have the situation with the workers parking on Ridge Drive. And after speaking to a traffic engineer, and the organization is VHB. They came up with this plan after careful consideration for the safety of people who live nearby, to add the required sight lines for anybody pulling out of the driveways, including the apartment building. And also my notes here. And
Also hydrants.
and obviously the hydrants and any other objects that would be in the way. So part of the plan is to do that. In addition, part of this local law is we would be restricting any commercial parking on these new proposed spots so that the businesses nearby wouldn't decide to co-opt the spots for their vehicles. I could just imagine maybe Schmidt's wanting to put their wrecker over there instead of parking in front of their building, so that will prevent them from doing that. We would also be adding in a no U-turn requirement on the street so that people trying to get to the spots aren't making U-turns, which could be dangerous. And additionally, something very near and dear to me is adding a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit to that street. That street is a speedway, and I think it's about time we start lowering our speed limits on our streets. We can't by law do it for the entire village. We have to do it street by street with signage. And this is a great opportunity because it's a short street. What's it, half a mile long, I think, is the exactness. I used to know it long. It allows us to put the required signs at the beginning and end of the street so we could knock the speed limit down to 25, which could hopefully save some lives and make things a lot safer for the residents. The plan from our traffic engineer is to add, as I stated before, 17 spots. They're all in front of the hotel. They're all in front of the apartment building. I think it's a really good plan. I know Gary had a bunch of questions, and when we spoke to the traffic engineer, he pretty much answered all of them. The width of the street is still within state guidelines for street width. The parking stalls can actually be smaller, but we decided to make them a little bigger to facilitate easy parking so that people who are parking aren't going to be trying to squeeze into a tight spot, slowing down traffic on Middle Neck Road. And again, every single spot that they proposed, they said there shouldn't be any issues with any cars coming in and coming out, though I did receive comments from one resident, and we'll ask you to state that again for the record, that one of these spots is problematic for you to enter and exit your driveway. But I specifically asked them about that spot, and he said this shouldn't be a problem, but if that's a concession, we can work on a concession for that. I think that's my whole speech. I had a nice PowerPoint, but I'm not going to turn the projector on.
Can we get another no truck sign or another way to inform the truck drivers not to go down Middle Neck Road? Because they still do all day long. There's only the one sign, and it's so dirty and old. You know,
We can
get a
change.
big giant bike.
Yeah, well, the problem is it's on a state road. I mean, the sign that's on Middle Neck Road, kind of useless, because once, you don't see it till they're already there, and it's too late to go
Right,
back.
the one on Old Northern Boulevard.
This,
It should, yeah.
We can
I mean, we can try, we can order a big sign and
We can do
put
that,
it up.
Let's put something across that's like 8 feet off the
Well,
ground.
that's what I wanted to do. I wanted it to hang it
A
from
big
the
steel
traffic
girt,
lights.
like an I-beam. Welcome to Flower Hill. It'll be like our gateway.
Oh, like they do on the thruway. With the chains.
Exactly.
The bars come off the
Or
trucks.
like they do at
Everyone would be
the Plandome train
It's gotta
station.
be regularly for the fire
Webster
department.
Avenue Bridge.
Webster Avenue Bridge, they have one too.
That's true. Yes, on a side note, we can look at the signs. But yes, it would be if it wasn't for the state not being as cooperative as they could be on signage, then we could have a lot more
Now,
signs.
I understand Flower Hill Auto Body, obviously, they have to have trucks come because that's their business.
So is Vernon Cooper, they have to have deliveries.
Right, but
Yeah.
We should
put
put
it after.
But the big trucks that are coming through the street shouldn't be. And I did
It's
ask,
the through traffic.
I did ask the commander of the 6th precinct to keep an eye on that as well. I mean, his cars can only be so many places, so many times.
Right.
So I asked,
Like
and
once
next
you
time.
park.
And next time I see him, I'll
They're too
remind
busy
him.
in Muncie Park.
Maybe. Any trustees have any questions on this plan?
What's the latest in, survey, getting a survey?
Well, Steve is here and he did email everybody the survey to the prices today. You
Yeah,
got
we're
that
gonna
email
do
today?
an update. I sent you an email
Okay.
earlier from Steve.
Sorry. So, yes, if we approve that,
But I just want to jump in, I just want to clarify the pricing on this.
oh, wait a second. So, for the record, state your name because you're in the public hearing. So the stenographer can do it.
Stephen Lonizak, SHL Engineering, Village Engineer.
Thank you, Steve.
Just to clarify, the two lowest bids were Bowser Associates at $8,250 and GDB Geospatial at $8,000 plus $1,000 to do stations at every 100 feet. So they're actually $9,000, not $8,000. So the
Okay.
lowest bidder is.
What is your recommendation? Is that useful?
Well, Bowser's doing it every 50 feet, so he's actually doing more cross-sectional stations for us, which is gonna be elevations, top of curve, bottom of curve, center line of road, and then curve and curve again. Every 50 feet along the middle of that road. Personally, I've worked with Bowser a lot. I'm not sure if we've had a lot of the surveys. I have not done any work with GDP, geospatial.
No, I don't know.
So why don't we address that in that part of the meeting?
Yeah.
But we
Okay.
will,
Okay.
Gary, yes.
Yeah.
After we approve it today, they can, whoever we approve can start probably within a couple
Do they
weeks.
have-
Within a couple weeks.
Okay.
And do they have like a timeline?
I didn't get their timeline yet.
Because I know these guys tend to be busy, so,
Yes.
okay, that's good.
That's why the sooner we
Good to know,
approve it. So, yeah, so we finally got that.
Great.
But other than the survey, do you have any other questions? We're not taking a vote on this
No,
tonight.
no.
We're still gonna hold this
That's-
open for one more meeting, for the July board meeting. But I really think this is going to work. If it doesn't work, we can easily change the local law, or erase the lines, and go back to the way it was, if it's a total failure. But I really, listen,
Just came.
after speaking to traffic engineers who are telling us this is the right solution, I have faith that this is the right solution.
You need a really big eraser.
We can get that eraser, don't worry. If the trustees don't have any questions, let's open it up to the public. But already for the record, Kerry O'Callahan is requesting that we remove the most southern spot, which I guess we can address that. That's the one that's over here.
Their driveway's across from them.
It's across from the driveway. I specifically asked the traffic engineer if it would be a problem for that driveway.
20 foot is the standard state backup.
He just said it wouldn't be a problem, but if you guys think it's gonna be a problem, it's one less spot. So if you want one less spot, which means one more car somewhere else.
It's a challenge
That's
getting
fine.
out of that driveway as it is.
I
Yeah.
know.
It's going both ways.
Yep. So that's fine. We'll knock that one spot off. Again, I'm not making this up. I specifically asked, because I knew you guys had the concern about that one. I specifically asked him, what about this spot with this driveway? We looked at the map and he said it shouldn't be a problem. But if you feel it's a problem, we'll have it tapered so there won't be a spot there. That's the easiest thing we could do for this. Any other questions? Any other comments from the public? All right, so I will make a motion to, what motion am I making here?
Adjourn.
To adjourn this to the July, oh, and just for the record, we're going to, when Rich gets back from highway school this week, he's going to start, even though he might have started already, get bids for this work. So that if we approve this in the July 11th meeting, we could literally, after the public hearing, approve the bid and then get the guys to work as soon as they can. So I'm not going to wait another month after we approve. We're doing this in parallel process so that we can, assuming we approve this at the July meeting, I don't want to speak ahead out of turn, but if we do, we'll approve the bid right afterwards. And then as quickly as these guys can come and restripe, they can restripe. So I'll still make my motion to adjourn to the July 11th, 2022 Board of Trustees meeting. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by trustee Collins, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Okay. Goes over to July.
Next,
Again.
thank you. The next local law for consideration,
Local H.
local law H. This was on the suggestion of Mary Jo Collins, which is a pretty good suggestion because we have had in the village various houses that have put artificial turf in the front of their house. And it hasn't been the most attractive. Is that the proper way to say it, Mary Jo? The most polite way to say it?
And, right, yeah, aesthetically, it's not.
The other thing that I think what's very important about allowing or not allowing artificial turf on the front lawn is it's not as pervious or permeous. What's the word I need, Peter?
Permeable.
Permeable, thank you. It's not as, I should have asked you. It's not as permeable as regular grass. So I think in some cases with this massive rains we're having, it's going to help contribute to street flooding because water's not staying on the property. Water's just, it's plastic. It's flowing right over it. and
This
going right into the street.
really is not artificial turf. This is like carpet.
Yeah.
I went and felt it. It feels like indoor outdoor
Is that not
carpet.
unbelievable?
Because there are artificial turfs that you cannot tell the difference.
Well, it's, Steve,
It's, you
it
can't
happens
miss
to
it.
be one, but there are others. This is just a general local law, but there's one example.
Just
that's-
look for the lawn that's wrinkled.
I mean,
Seriously.
I just want to say that I did speak to the homeowner,
yeah.
and he's very unhappy with the way it came out, and he's going to remove it and do something else at some point.
It's gonna mow it.
He's not putting a different shade, is he?
He's gonna put pink
We
carpet.
talked about a rock garden.
Pink
and-
shadow.
Okay.
Mary Jo, he's changing out for the seasons, so we'll have
Oh.
like brown and
Oh.
blue. But also, so I have the only, let's see, so why are we doing this local law? It aims to address environmental concerns ranging from increased heat, toxic plastic runoff, harm to insects, and most importantly, reduced ability for the ground to absorb stormwater. So
Right.
I wanted to say my little sentence that I had. I think this makes sense. I mean, it's good for the environment and it's good for, it's more pleasing to the eye. Now, it's not an outright ban. It does allow the building and superintendent to approve on case-by-case basis.
For rear yard, not for front, though, right?
It would, no, we're not, this local law is only
Yeah.
addressing front yards. It's not addressing rear yards.
Why don't we just make it for, I mean, if we're worried about the environment,
Yeah, why not make it for the whole thing?
yeah, why not just
And
make it?
everything just
Well,
subject.
Ban it.
Because that's what was requested at the last board meeting. But
We've
if we
also
want
have
to
a lot of
change it,
existing homes that have it in their rear yards, and they would become non-compliant.
Well,
We
you could
could-
say
we
no
could-
new install, no new
Do
installation.
they come for a permit to do it? Like,
No, we
do they
don't
come
require
to us and
permits in
say,
landscaping.
I want to put a putting green, for half of my backyard? And did they come to us to have that approved? No. That's a problem.
We had a putting green that was
why is it a problem?
applied for with a permit. But normally, this is just considered landscaping. I mean, it's like they would come in and say, can I plant my roses here, or do I have to put in daisies, you know?
So I think we're doing a lot more to adhere to something
So, I
that is
mean, how would you-
environmentally, so I think we need to really maybe, I brought this up because, as you know, it's just an eyesore and this is not the type of thing we want in the village. But this does beg the question, if we're putting in all this other language about environmental concerns, then if the building superintendent is going to be the one who says yay or nay gatekeeper, then maybe we do have something for the.
But do you grandfather the people who already have it?
Of course,
Yeah,
of course. No, there's no way I would make
Yeah.
someone
Right.
have, no,
That's
But
what-
no.
going
That's
forward, why
Yeah,
would
can
we
we,
not?
yeah, can we make it that, well, you'd have to change the zoning if you wanted to make it that you would have to get a variance. At least, if people want to put artificial turf in their rear yard, there's a lot of different artificial turfs, as we know. There's field turf, which is the leading, which 99% of people can lay on it, stick your face in it, and you wouldn't know it's not real grass. It's what all the professional sports, there's colleges, a lot of people put them in their backyards for golf courses and whatever. an extremely expensive product. But then there's all kinds of stuff that go down toward the old, like my parents used to have in front of the house, that green mat with the rubber. Yeah. So, and then to indoor outdoor carpet. So if, maybe we make it that if you want to put any artificial turf in your rear backyard, you have to get it approved by either ARC and then they'll have to show, bring a piece of it, sample of it, make sure it should be permeable, because some are, some aren't. They're very dangerous in the winter, the ones that aren't permeable. Maybe but would that require a zoning amendment
Well, the other
to
thing
say
you
that
can do,
it's
if I
no
can make
longer
a
permitted
suggestion.
in rear yard unless, or is it,
right, if we.
or is it a local law?
Frank,
Well,
what could also be done, you could have the artificial turf have the same setbacks as we do with patios and anything else. So
Tennis courts.
that would be limited that way.
Yeah, well, that would be, we could do that. But I think it's also, what type of artificial turf people want to put in is a question.
Yeah, I mean, some of them I've seen, they put in, an 8-inch gravel base and it goes over it and it's drainable.
Oh, yeah, the field
And that
turf is
would-
100%
that would-
drainable.
So some of them, if they're not that tight, then they gotta provide drainage for it, dry wells and so forth.
The field turf product is actually more permeable than natural dirt,
Yeah.
because of the way it has a certain layer of permeable surface and then it's permeable itself.
it probably would make sense then to consider calling artificial turf a structure for the purpose.
Accessory structure.
Right.
Yeah.
And then,
And it makes
and then
sense.
defining where it can be and what types of turf can be used, because then it's an entity and you can
Right.
work with it that way.
And that right there, that would, if you just did that, that would eliminate it from being in the front yard, because you can't have.
Can't have
It's
accessory
the category of a
Yeah.
patio, right away, it can't go in the front yard, and it's also controlled by setbacks in the rear yard also.
That's interesting.
It's not even allowed in the side yard if it's under that category of a structure like a patio is.
That's a good idea. That's
But-
not a bad
but-
idea.
By the way, there is an argument for you're saving water. So, you can make the environmental
Well, the
argument.
environmental argument also is you're not using fertilizers and pesticides.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a bunch of things that you can argue
Yeah.
for it and
Yeah.
our environmental part. So I think
Yeah, no, just.
regulating it through some kind of,
Calling it a
Yeah.
structure is the simplest way to control it. It wouldn't be allowed in the front yard then, wouldn't be allowed in the side yard, and the rear yard would be controlled by setbacks. And drainage wise, it would depend on the type of turf they're proposing, whether or not we need separate drainage structures or.
Would that be an ARC decision on the type of turf? Just like it would be on the type of paver or the
I
type
think it's
of.
more technical, Bill, in other words, it's just a matter of whether it needs drainage or not, depending on the type of.
Well, but
surface.
what about like ARC when you want to put a patio and you propose a certain type of stone? We don't care what stone people put,
A
or,
lot of patios don't go to ARC.
it's aesthetic.
because it's that grade,
It's
if
just
it's
an
flat
aesthetic
work,
thing.
yeah.
All right,
All
so
right.
Yeah, I think having Peter as a gatekeeper on this.
No, that's fine.
And
That's-
we just need to decide what the technical specs need to be for it.
I don't think it's going to become an epidemic, but,
No.
Yeah, I mean, some people use it, what a lot of the patios are doing is they have paving stones with 4-inch wide
yes.
grass between, which is artificial grass. It's a
Right.
sort of low maintenance
Right.
thing that you
Right,
have
and
that
it's-
way.
and it
I'm
is,
seeing a
yeah.
lot of that.
Yeah, that's gonna die out fast, that fad. We got a lot of those. Everybody wants that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the latest.
It's on every commercial, that's why, okay.
All right, so why don't we table this law, adjourn it till next month, and who's gonna rewrite this with all the complexities in it?
I'd be happy to take that.
All right, thank you. Let's try to get it to the
And I'll run
board.
it by Peter.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, that-
And then let's-
that's a good
Yeah, it
way.
has to-
Let's-
I think that's the simplest way to do it.
Let's get it to the board much sooner than the packet. So if there's additional questions, we're not wasting another month, so we can address the questions, because this sounds kind of complex.
So stupid question, do we have a similar rule about artificial plants? Because I've seen houses, not in Flower Hill, there's one house on Glen Cove Road, though, I don't know if anybody's noticed it, where they have these evergreen trees in front of the house that are clearly, they're like toilet
Christmas
brushes.
trees.
They're like toilet bowl brushes.
Well, we could certainly put that under the category of approved landscape plan.
Right.
Let's not, we don't have that problem. Let's let it go.
Okay.
I don't want this to be the village of no.
I think I'll be on the lookout in the village.
Yeah,
I'll
keep it
let
on.
you know.
I do think. that-
My father spray painted a dead bush once in our backyard for 6 straight years green, just because he didn't want to rip it out. And no one knew that, no one knew. So,
I do think the language, the kind of akin to the language you had quoted, I think we do need to put that out there as a constant reminder of what we support, you know, and I think that the reality is the property on Bonnie Heights that's on Bonnie Heights, right?
yeah.
It's in the village right away, is it not?
Yeah, that's also true.
And the reality is that it, you know, even though it's sloped, there's things beyond grass that, you know, and actually grass is not very environmentally friendly when you really look at it. So, you know, I think there are things, I'm just saying is that, not that we have to be specific about what we support and what we don't support.
Right.
But I think putting out the message that we support, you know, natural and native and that kind of thing. I think still a message that's important.
Right, you could plant natural, like native grasses on there. I think his claim was it's too steep for grass.
Right.
I mean, has
So
you ever been to a golf course?
Grasses in there.
Like, you know,
But
grass does
Frank,
grow on hills.
Frank,
Yeah.
he's addressing it.
Okay.
So it's done. It's done.
Good.
So I'm making the motion to adjourn this to next month. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Oh,
Thank you. You can second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions or no?
Perfect. I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Any second?
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? No. Excellent. All right, Ronnie, ball's back to you.
Okay, all right. So we have a motion to approve the minutes of the May 2nd meeting.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, there's a motion by trustee Franco. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? So moved. Okay, next we have a motion to approve the claims.
I looked over every single bill and I see nothing in it that is out of order. So I'll make the motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
And for the record, Max will be in favor if he's in favor, but he's abstaining from,
He's got
he's got the blank.
Blanket.
Blanket.
That's, I just want to say it for every meeting.
okay.
So
What kind of blanket?
he doesn't
Wait
approve
a minute.
the other,
I-
the landscape permit,
my
the
mother-
tree permits.
No, your mother.
Okay,
All
all in favor? I'm sorry.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
abstentions or nays? Okay. Next. Is a resolution to invest in CLAS, CLAS. I know that trustee Collins has some questions, and she spoke with the CLAS representative, and I believe that the questions were answered. So, this was on the agenda last month, and I'm just wondering if somebody would like to look at that resolution.
Well, before we do that, Mary Jo, do you have any other questions? Or you
No.
and I spoke, so I think we're
guess,
good.
yeah, so I guess the only other question is, I'm fine. I just, there, are there all the other villages, Muncie Park, kind of, everybody does this?
Well, not everybody, but, quite a few do. I can certainly send you a list, big villages like Massapequa Park and Long Beach do it. Small villages like Stewart Manor are invested in it. It's all across the board in Nassau, Suffolk,
Okay.
and of course, the entire state. They also fire departments, school districts, it's like a government vehicle. Somebody would like to offer the motion?
Oh, I'll offer the motion.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Trustee Lewandowski? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
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 Any abstentions or nay votes? So moved, thank you. Okay, just to let you know that the tax roll obviously is out, because you probably received your tax bills. It's also been published on the website. And we're working on online tax payments. Our previous vendor for online tax payments went out of business like in April, the end of April. Let us know that.
May
And
15th.
right, oh,
But
you
we
better
did,
make
but we
it.
didn't receive we didn't receive notification until too late to really move to a new
Right.
provider.
We have, I actually have a webinar tomorrow, with the new vendor, and hopefully we'll be up and running by the end of the week.
Excellent.
That is my goal.
And the advantage of the new company over the old is I think this one will take ACH.
It'll take ACH, and it's also, a little bit less of a percentage that the homeowner or resident will be paying for the use of it.
If they're doing credit card.
Yes.
But if people don't want to do credit card and pay,
No,
which I think
it's
is,
a standard $1.50.
otherwise it's $1.50 to do ACH. So I think it's a good thing this other company's leaving us because they didn't have that service. This one does. You know, $1.50 convenience fee is a lot better than what was it, 2.25% fee to use your credit card?
I think it's 2.5%.
Yeah, that's kind of a lot. So $1.50 to do ACH, do a wire transfer, that's perfect. So hopefully we'll have that up. And as soon as they're up and running, we will change the banner on the website. So those people looking at the website will know that we're Farm Electronic. Building Superintendent's Report, Mr. Albinsky.
Okay, this is the May 23rd meeting of the Park District Meeting. Returning applications, we have quite a few. 63 Middle Inlet Road, this was a comeback, actually modification, there is twice on this. We had comments, and that's approved with that condition. 21 Country Club Drive, this was a new attached garage, but it's actually removal of an existing garage and constructing a new garage. Quickly, this is part of an old subdivision. They needed to remove the garage, and the new garage is part of that. So this was approved with the condition of some landscaping being installed. 300 Lane,
But 1 second on that. Need landscaping, because the guy doesn't really have landscaping now. He's got these like trees and so he would put new landscaping?
New landscaping.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
300 Lane, two-story side addition, portico, new attached garage. We had some comments, they've been, of course, twice, I believe, already. We just got in the revised plan today, so it's going to be distributed, but I'm asking the board to approve it subject to that approval by the distribution, to save some time there. If by chance they don't, we have a couple of these. If we can't get a consensus, then they're going to come back for next month and we go that way.
Okay, which is what we've done in the past.
Yes.
This isn't anything different. Okay.
110 Crab Apple, again, additions and exterior alterations. This we've worked quite a bit on from the beginning of this. We are down to, although it seems a long list, some very specific corrections to be made on this last submission. Again, I got that in today. Looks like we applied to most of them, but then we're going to distribute it and it's going to be subject to that approval by the committee. 105 Woodhill Lane, it's reconstructed one-family house. By that, it's not a whole new house, they're going down to the foundation and coming up from there. Again, this was probably the third time before us. We're down to some specific comments. Long list, but they're relatively minor at this point, and we've got just recently that submission, so it's going to be for review by the board.
Can I ask a quick question on that one? Why are they just going down to the foundation? Why aren't they just starting fresh?
I don't know. I mean, when you go that far, you would think that, nowadays people want, deeper basements, walls. It's their choice,
Are they avoiding our, what do we call that fee, Ronnie?
No, they're gonna, this is considered as far as the impact fee.
The impact fee, thank you.
Yeah, it's a new,
Might be money. It just might be money.
I'm just curious, but I wanted,
It's a savings,
I was
Yeah,
leading the
yeah.
witness because I wanted to make sure we're getting our impact fee. Because in essence, that's going to be the same amount of trucks ripping up our streets
Yeah.
Oh,
as
right,
it would
yeah.
with pure new construction. So
Yeah.
that's why we have the impact fee.
Yeah. I mean,
Savings
they
account.
they still have some foundation work to do on the porches, the railing and stuff like that, so they
Right.
have all the trades,
Okay.
and basically rebuilding that. 181 Mason Drive, they came back, we asked them the last time to remove some of the panels, on the sides, and they did, and so it was approved as they submitted it. 51 Pinewood, it's a new dwelling. We had some sort of roof line changes that we asked for, lowering the roof. Actually, it was a zoning issue because they had too high a space over the garage and kind of this floor area. They weren't aware of that. It wasn't picked up until that meeting in the renderings. So we asked them to lower that and lower head height windows. They basically had a lot of windows that looked more commercial, I would say, than residential. So they're coming back on the next meeting. 59 Chestnut, the solar panels, that was approved. We did have some discussion at the meeting where a couple of places they wanted to add, but they were towards the rear of the house, and we were okay with those additions and approved it based on the discussions we had. 125 Northwoods, exterior alterations, basically like a makeover on the exterior of the house where they're adding roof lines, new siding, and so forth. So we had some minor tweaks on the design about dormers matching, detailing of the portico, and we requested some trim at the front door. But that was a nice addition. And that's the report for the May meeting.
Well, you had a very full agenda that night.
Yeah, I wish it wasn't long.
I have one comment on Hunter's Lane.
Yes.
I think there was on the record, and I don't recall it being discussed at all in the last meeting, for landscaping on the one side where the addition's being built.
Correct. Thank you for bringing that up.
Well, that goes with any of them. Any of these additions, the landscape plan would be submitted.
Right, no, it's just that the neighbor was very specific that they want they want to see some kind of screening on that side.
I'll make sure that's.
I mean-
attended to. Yeah.
I'm sorry, which case was that for?
300.
Hunters, okay.
Thank you for remembering, because they found me first on that, so yes. All right, are there any questions from the board other than Gary's question? If not, any questions from the public? If not, I will make a motion to approve the recommendations of the ARC pursuant to all the conditions indicated on this report.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Hang on a second.
Okay.
Abstaining.
You're abstaining?
Abstaining, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, Gary's going to start abstaining after discussions with Jeff.
Oh, okay, excellent.
Because Gary's on the ARC,
That's
it's
appropriate.
probably not appropriate for him to approve his own
Right.
decision. So yeah,
Well,
going
he's
forward.
pretty sure that they're the right decision.
Yes, but going forward, just to keep things
Yeah,
clean, thank
absolutely.
you for remembering Gary.
Okay.
It's two things I remember.
You're doing good, Gary.
What did I take this morning? I'm just-
Focus on, yes.
And then next is the attorney's reports, or anything to report?
I do briefly, forgive me for not having a written report. There were two matters before BZA. One was at 12 Hewlett Lane, and on both of these, I'll turn to Mr. Albinski to see if I've gotten them correct, because they each have a little bit of complexity. But 12 Hewlett Lane was essentially an application to maintain a series of structures that are already existing. And the main issue was that there was a patio with a fire pit that, because of the layout of the property, quite frankly, it ended up being right on the property line, of the neighbor's property line. But the reasoning behind it seems to be that the homeowner had a fence that sort of veered off their property line into their neighbor's property at an angle and then angled back. And what seems to have happened is that whoever constructed the pit and the patio based their measurements off of the fence, thinking it was the property line, instead of the actual property line. So what they ended up with was a structure right bang on the line. So the board was fairly okay with the remainder of the application, but was quite concerned about having a structure right at the property line because you can't even put
Unforgiving.
screening there. There's just no, right, there's no forgiveness, just there it is. So they did grant the application, however, the structure that was at 0 feet had to be moved back, I think it was 4 feet from the line.
Right, it was a patio around the fire pit.
Right.
So it circled the fire pit, I believe.
Right.
And so we asked it to cut the patio back to the edge of the fire pit on that property line side.
Right, which would allow them to then put in screening, trees and things of that nature. So that wasn't what the homeowner had hoped, I think, but it was, from the board's point of view, it balanced the interests of what the owner wanted to do against the surrounding neighborhood.
And the screening was part of the decision.
Right, it was. And as to the next application, it was on 59 Ridge Drive, which I'm sure the board is aware, it's a pretty hilly street, and the applicant was asking to maintain additional pavement on the property in the front yard. They were seeking not a huge increase, well, roughly 8%, but when they explained it and when the drawings were shown, what they were essentially doing was sort of creating a series of, what you call it, steps going down the hill so that it would be more accessible.
The interesting part of that is that property and across the street property both had very wide curb cuts where people actually head in parking. And as was found out, that was the end of that road at one point. It was the turnaround. And so both those opposing things had it. When they were doing work there, they were redoing that, but they expanded it some. So they expanded a little bit to the parking area, and then they had walkways that bumped it up over what it was prior. So it does step down the hill, so the house is low relative to the street. So I think part of the application, we asked for some landscaping at the edge of their paving area to soften the look from the street.
And the manner in which it's designed really works well with the screening, because the steps were set up in such a way that they're almost like giant planters. So on either side of where the paving is, the applicant was perfectly agreeable. It was on both sides, they agreed to put screening. So it really will reduce the visibility and works well with the hill and the topography. So the
Very
board did approve the application with the screening requirement. And that's all I have.
Thank you. So with our public works superintendent, Rich is at Highway School in Ithaca this week, and that is sponsored by Cornell Roads Program. The only item that we had for him was the butterfly garden. Do you know what's going on with that, Mary Jo? Has there been
Yeah,
additional
so,
planting?
yeah, we had a discussion with Rich. He's supposed to come back with a recommendation. We've increased the Gary walk the property with him and scoped out how much larger it could be. But then there was a recommendation for butterfly bush, which Gary mentioned, I think it was you, Gary, right, that there's actually a weed. So I spoke to Rich last week and said, could we please come up with another plan? And I didn't realize he was at Highway School, but there is on the North Hempstead website, there are plenty of resources for what are native plants for.
Right.
So we'll have that discussion. We're not looking for anything, like 5 different things in it. We just want something that's in keeping with native plants for.
The answer is milkweed then, because milkweed is what the monarchs eat, and that's where they lay their cocoons.
So-
Milkweed's the key thing,
Anyway,
and it's native.
that's
so.
where we are.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I wanted to thank the Highway Department for putting up the flags for Memorial Day. They did a great job, and they'll do that again for 4th of July. So we'll see those flags up in a couple of weeks. The ball's in Steve's court now. All right, Steve.
Now we have.
Now you may speak.
Sorry.
It's all right. That's fine.
Just to summarize, our pavement and drainage contract went out to bid last week. This Friday is the bid opening, so I think we've had 5 or 6 people pick up already.
4 to 6.
6?
Yeah.
So you have 2 left.
You can't even
We should have 2 left, so we should hopefully get some good numbers.
So if we don't get it, because I heard we only got 2 2 people have picked up bid packets so far?
No, no,
Sorry,
six.
6? Oh, when we spoke
Two
earlier,
more
it was 2.
were under my mailbox,
Oh,
and then
okay.
there were 2 more.
All right, now I feel better because I spoke to Ronnie before it was 2. Can you send towards the end of the week? You want to just send out another reminder to everybody,
Sure.
just in case. I want to make sure we get enough bid. Just because 6 picked up big packets, we might only get 2 bids, and I want to make sure we get enough bids to be able to get the cheapest rate and to pick the best contractor for this job.
Key for this one.
The best, yes.
Randall, did you want to mention the pickleball conversation?
No, we can talk to Steve separately on that.
Okay.
Next, the agenda is I have a resolution awarding, the bid to create a survey. So, we're going with, I'm sorry,
So we have Bowser, we have
and
GDB,
GDB,
and we have,
the 2
Karen
expensive
Hello,
ones.
and we're out of control.
Yeah, the 2 of them are out of the ballpark.
The
Karen
only thing that it seems like the 2 lowest bidders are not providing are the lot lines with the property lines, property lines. Do we need that? Do we need all the properties laid out on the side of the road?
Can we get it on the GIS? Can we get the survey put onto the GIS?
I don't know. I would
Because
have
then
to
you- then
ask
you
my
wouldn't need-
GIS, so-
What's the format? How do you upload it to GIS?
We'd have to work through whoever we've been working
I don't
through.
think GIS is that accurate.
Oh,
It's-
no?
I just feel that it is a good tool to have the lot lines.
But that's a lot of
I
work.
know, I was,
That's where I think Ferrantello was higher,
We'll hire to a factor
but
of 5.
not for that amount.
Right. I mean, all they need to do, I guess, is get the surveys and then kind of just line them up, right?
Right. But we would have to provide them with all of those lot surveys so they could tie this.
Oh, we would provide, not them. They
I
would
mean,
get
we
them.
have them, so it's not, crazy.
I mean, in light, go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, this is strictly for the road right now.
Yes.
All structures.
So just hit the right of way.
Within the right of way,
So I don't think the lot lines really would make much of a difference. Because it's across the side, it's not really,
We can cross-reference it.
I'd be able to do it, manually, just,
You can, yeah.
Well, it's gonna show driveways.
I mean, if we have a specific,
Right, that's
yeah, if we have a
right.
specific question, we can always,
yeah.
Because
If you have a specific homeowner that you need to kind of zone in on,
right.
we can kind of tie
Yeah,
it.
we can map it.
Lot 52, lot
Yeah.
53, yeah.
So in light of the Middle Neck Road restriping project, if that happens in July, we approve it, it's important that we get this survey as soon as possible. So
What's the time frame? Because I know right now surveyors they're getting hammered.
I'm gonna guess it's gonna be at least 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah,
before they,
That's what we're saying
Okay.
about,
The other
So
thing is,
we need to get them going.
if you're gonna put those striping, those parking spots on, do you want that on the survey?
Are we striping the spots?
No, we're not, I think, well, I don't, no,
We're gonna
we
put
want the survey before we
Phased, we
stripe.
are. Okay.
no, he's saying, once
Oh.
we stripe, do we want
Oh.
the new traffic layout on the
Because
survey?
you're not gonna have those parking spots and that change in your road.
Well, wouldn't we get another survey when it's done? But what's the point? It's a waste of money.
Yeah, that's the point.
Why? I don't think we need that.
I don't think so either.
No.
So to answer your question, yes, we're specifically going to stripe the stalls, because otherwise, instead of having 16 or 17 stalls, somebody parks the wrong way.
Oh, right.
You now
Yeah,
have
yeah, yeah.
8 cars parked there.
Right,
So,
right.
and that's why I stated before,
No,
we're
no,
going
that's I was
22
gonna,
feet
I was
wide.
gonna recommend that, yeah.
Yeah, no.
Maybe we should find out what it would be to survey after, just to see. I mean, I wouldn't hold up the contract.
Just to add in the.
Yeah, I mean, just to have that number in our pocket rather than we come to them 3 months later because suddenly we realize we needed it. And it's like, oh my, it's gonna cost.
Yeah, but
me
you wanna know
money.
something? If we know that the spots are 22 feet on center to the stripe,
We could draw.
we can draw them.
So before, you were
Instead of
saying
spending
there was a
money.
difference between the two, and I
No.
apologize.
No, the real issue, it's not the issue of where the 22-foot stripes are. It's where the center line is relative to the right of way. We don't have that,
Correct. 'Cause that's
right?
what
All
we-
we're doing is we're taking what's paved and we're playing around with lines, but we really don't know where those lines are relative to the right of way. That's the important thing to know.
So I can get a price on an update for the striping and the.
Yeah, I think it's wise to at least have a.
So
in our
let's
pocket.
get that in the pocket for next
Yeah.
board meeting, but I'd like to approve one of these.
Agreed.
guys.
Yeah, let's get going on.
Yeah.
Because I need to know what
Yeah.
part of the road is our road and what's not.
Agreed.
So let's vote.
So of the two, I know you stated one had the cross sections and one had
So
different cross
Fouser
sections.
was 8,250, including stations every 25 feet. GDB was 8,000 plus an additional 1,000 to do stations every 100 foot.
So my guess is you probably want the
I would
more
want the
stations,
information, which would be 1,000.
which
So
so,
the cheaper
so actually it ends up becoming cheaper.
Yeah.
So let's make a motion to approve Fouser Associates
I'll make a
at the
motion.
cost of $1,250.
I'm sorry.
Frank
who's the
Janice made
second?
the motion, Mr. Frankel
Franklin.
seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Janice.
Any abstentions? Any against? I apologize.
So it's like 8250 is all in for Fouser.
Yes.
Yes.
So, but just one, maybe stupid, but this is parallel parking, right?
Yeah.
So it's not head in or not, it's parallel. So when somebody's coming, if we have those truck and somebody's parallel, it's like I'm playing a room, they can go around it because there's sort of room. Is this gonna be wide enough? If somebody's parking, they don't want to wait for the person because they're a bad parallel parker, it takes them 3 times to get in the spot. Can they go around or they're
They're gonna go on oncoming
Yeah,
traffic.
they're going over
It's
the.
just like any other
They're going-
two-lane road.
They're going to go slow, and it's gonna slow people down before someone gets killed on that street. So actually,
Has anyone ever been killed on that street?
Yes.
so my neighbor
Really?
so my neighbor almost died a couple years ago.
Wow.
She got hit by a
Oh, yeah, I
car.
remember that, yeah.
She was in the hospital for months. She was in rehab for months.
She was on a bicycle.
She was on a bicycle.
Yeah, I
got
remember that. Yeah.
very, very, very injured.
How is she doing?
Very good. Thank
Okay.
you. But yes, so there's been, and has there, other than that, was there actual deaths on that street, Mitchell? Because no one died, but someone almost died.
There was a taxi cab crash, I want to say 40s or 50s.
Okay, we don't, yeah, no, forget it. No, we don't care about
That's not the
that.
statute of
Okay.
limitations.
1940. It was on a Tuesday, I think.
A horse ran into the other horse.
It was a horse and buggy.
It was the trolley. The trolley ran into something. All right. Thank you, Steve. And good to see you. Haven't seen you in a long
Same
time.
here. Actually, one question I have,
Sure.
with respect to Stony Town Road.
Ugh.
Where do we stand with that? Because I'm getting texts from the homeowner at 370, and I'm getting a lot of calls from Bob Brown. Almost 3 times a week. Asking me for an update, what's going on? What is Nine Knolls doing? Are they providing us with information? We want to move forward.
I can't answer that.
Okay.
Perhaps either Peter or Jeff can answer that.
I can, I would
Okay.
suggest that this should
As a
be matter of
sidebar.
discussion, if not.
Yeah.
in the public.
All right, we
Yeah.
can go to executive session afterwards if you want to stay around.
My report. Okay, so we're in the process of doing the work we need to do to get Municity rolling. It will be a multi-month project. Peter has graciously volunteered to lead the project. We have our next meeting with them, I believe, on the 16th of this month. And so today they reached out to me, Municity reached out because they want to start entering our, all the parcels. And they're going to reach out to the county to pull that information from them, and they're also pulling information from checklists. We're all launched on Microsoft 365 and SharePoint. Everybody's got it in the village staff, and we're trying to get used to it. It's a bit of an adjustment. That means that everything is off of the server except for our current building program.
Right.
Scanning is fairly finished. Everything that's been done are files that are not currently under construction. We held back the files that are under construction because documents keep getting edited on a daily basis. So we have to figure out how we're going to address those. And then the next step would be the retrieval system that we're going to use to pull these documents once we have them in our possession. The Arbor Day tree giveaway was a wild success. We got rid of every tree, even though we over-ordered. And the street tree planting was mostly a success.
Yep.
Next is that we would like to do a newsletter and sometime, like to send it out to sometime early July, after the 4th. I'm asking all of you to give me ideas for articles, or even better would be to write an article, including our history chairs. So please let me know what you'd like to see in the newsletter.
Ronnie, for the scanning, I volunteered you to give Angela Menino a little advice. She's the village of Brookville.
Okay.
She's Tim
I
Doherty's.
think I talked to her already.
Yeah, she's very sweet. And
I talked to her already.
oh, because
Yeah.
I was there this week and we were talking about scanning, and I said, well, my clerk knows a lot about it. Do you know Ronnie? And she was like, I think I've met Ronnie, but I don't really, I don't feel like I could just call her. I'm like, yeah, call her.
Anybody
Call
can
her.
call me, yeah.
So if you
I'm
get a
on
call
board
from
with the,
if you get a call
Press
from
Association.
Angela, she just they're interested. Tim Doherty is interested.
I think I spoke to Kim possibly. I spoke to somebody from Brookville about
You
it.
may have spoke to Tim Doherty. He's the administrator.
And I don't know. Well, anyway, I told them how we did it, how I approached it.
Was this recently?
Yeah, like before I went away.
No, this was this week. I spoke to
Okay,
her.
well,
Yeah, she may call.
I'm happy to
She
share
may
my
call.
information.
Yeah. So, but I told her you were an expert, so you gotta.
Expert, oh, great, thanks. She's gonna get
I said Ronnie
She
knows
knows nothing.
Ronnie knows everything.
You should know
Ronnie
what
knows
she's
everything
talking
about this scanning stuff. So.
Mayor's report.
All right, first of all, happy 91st birthday to Flower Hill. That was last week. Very happy we survived this long as a village. Landmark
Are we promoting that? I mean, is
on
that,
Facebook, if you followed us.
yeah, but we should have a banner or something.
So 90 made it exciting. 91?
95.
I think when we get to round
109 years we'll do it.
Frank, you're on the 100-year committee.
I will volunteer right now.
Thank
You
you.
should talk to Norman
You
Glavis.
and Norman
He did
Glavis.
75.
Did he do the 75?
He did 75. He did a great job with 75.
Did he?
We had a reception at the North Hempstead
Also,
Country
we
Club.
really
Does
did a
it
whole
dinner
night.
dance?
Oh, it was a Norm went all out. It was a good event. It was yes. I really.
So 9 years.
So 9 years.
Mark it on your
Start
calendar.
planning on it, Frank.
Wow.
I'd be living in Florida then, but I'm sure it'll be nice.
Well, you'll come back. So Landmark Commission, I would like to move forward with this. Unfortunately, I haven't had anybody volunteer yet other than our 2 historians. So I'll reach out again. I'd like to have at least 3 members, preferably 5, so that we can move forward in landmarking some of our important village history. That being said, I just signed off today on the Eagle Scouts project to clean up the cemetery. So
Great.
his plan is to do that in July, and Rich will support him with whatever Rich needs to support him with. So that'll get done. Middle Neck Road, Rich is on top of the stuff we were just discussing. Rich is going to be painting the gate at Greenway, and I met with him in Stella, and that area there, we're going to do some landscaping.
I was just wondering, I was looking at it today, the stone is really lovely. I wonder if it should just be power washed.
I'm sure
It's really lovely stone.
Rich will make that all nice.
Yeah.
Yes, he'll figure it
no
out.
doubt.
Yeah, he
Rather than putting
listen, he
white.
volunteered to paint that gate. I also want to change the reflective triangles to something that wasn't from 1962. So they actually reflect now. But yeah, and Stella recommended some good plantings. We're also going to experiment. So if you notice, there are some plantings in Middle Neck Road right by the gate. I've been doing that with all my excess plants. I just keep.
It looks very nice.
I just keep on planting things there when I
know.
have
it
excess
looks,
stuff.
It looks very
So
nice.
Stella has recommended to Rich a couple of things we're going to try out, and we're going to try in a couple of spots because his biggest concern is the plows, the salt, the sand, the cars, all that stuff. So we're going to try some flowering stuff that's going to flower. Obviously, we're going to do perennials, not annuals, so things come back and saves us some money. And we're going to try in a couple of spots for this year as I'll call it a test to see what's going to work on the road, and then we'll do some more next year. Traffic safety. I just had these nice ladies here who volunteered for some speed humps. So I still have 2 to deploy. Brian and I looked at the traffic report that we got. We selected a couple of sites and we need to talk to Rich about deploying them, but maybe we modify it to what these ladies suggested. I'd like to also make a resolution to, I don't like to use the word pay salary, but one of our village prosecutors, Brian Myerson, who happens to be a trustee in East Hills, has volunteered for the last, is it 4 years now, Ronnie?
I think it's been more than that.
I think it's been 4 years. He has been one of our, Jeff, what's the proper term? Assistant prosecuting
Assistant
attorney?
prosecutor, a deputy prosecutor.
Thank you. So in court, in village court, to make things run smoothly for all the people in court, we tend to have 2 prosecuting attorneys there so they can do all the pre-trial hearings and get everybody in quickly and get everybody out. So we have 2. One tends to be Jeff, and that has always been covered under his retainer. And in the past, we've used Dwight. What's Dwight's last name?
Kennedy.
Thank you. Dwight has always been compensated for that. Brian volunteered, as I said, for the last 4+ years. He asked to be compensated the same amount of money that Dwight is, and that's a low fee of $250, which I think is incredibly fair, especially that he's been doing it free for all this time. So this was supposed to be at last month's meeting. It was on the agenda. We just had the wrong agenda. So apologies to Mr. Myerson that we didn't do this, but I'd like to make a motion to pay our prosecuting
May I
attorneys.
Just one point, we will try to have just 2 prosecutors, but if there's a lot of traffic, a lot on the calendar, we may.
Right. The goal is this way, we're only paying $250 per court, but like when we came out of COVID, we were backed up. We would need all 3 just to get us current. Otherwise, people in court will be here for like 4 or 5 hours. And just for the record, Mr. Morrison will not be receiving a pension. He will not be receiving any benefits or any other payment in kind. This is just a flat fee of $250. So I would like to make that resolution to pay Prosecutor Brian Myerson $250
Do I
per
have a
session.
second? Trustee Franco, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Okay, great.
I went back to the PWM OEM. We haven't had a meeting since before COVID. So it was nice to get all the villages together. Supervisor DeSena came as well, which was nice to see her
Coming to the
involved.
breakfast too, at the signs.
Oh, good.
I told her to come.
Because Judy Bosworth was at PWM OEM years ago. So it's nice to have our new supervisor there.
Let me know if you need her.
I will. It was a good meeting. Again, we're all about, we're entering hurricane season. I think the first storm just got named.
Yeah, Alex.
Alex just got named after it hit Florida. It's now got named on the way to
Tropical
Bermuda.
storm.
So, one of the things I'm going to do, and Ronnie,
Hey,
please,
just what we need now is hurricanes.
can you please forward me the most recent emergency plan? I want to update it. It
I think
needs,
I just did, but I'll send it to you.
okay. I want to make sure.
Yeah, the county had asked for it updated, so.
Good. I want to make
It's
sure
done.
all the I just remember from the past, we need to update all the contact information and some other stuff. And what's great about these plans, it gives you the 5-day out plan, 4-day out plan, every day out from a major storm. We have a plan on what we're going to do in the village, how to get the equipment ready, test our generators, gas up all the equipment, and just be ready to respond. And then obviously after the storm hits, there's checklists and steps
I
that we
have no
take.
doubt Richie will be, just like in every storm in the past, our guys will be right on top of this.
Yeah, but guess what? It's good to have the plan.
Yeah, well, that's why.
Because if something happens to somebody, we don't have a plan. This way, everything's checked off. We know which other agencies we need to speak with. We share equipment with other villages. If you remember a couple of years ago, because Peter Foreman likes to remind us, our payloader was broken.
Yes, I remember.
And we had to borrow his payloader because the garbage truck dumped its garbage. It was on fire and it dumped all the garbage in the street. So we didn't have a payloader. So listen, these types of intermunicipal collaborations is good because we help them and they help us. Dark web monitoring, total computer. They called me up last week with Ronnie. They really, initially when we did all the switch over to Microsoft 365, they wanted to add the dark web monitoring at the time. Brian and I really thought we didn't need to spend the money. So what they're going to do is they really think we need it, especially.
How much does it cost?
About $150 a month. They're going to comp us for the first 3 months for free.
Total, that's it?
Just
Not
for
each
the-
of us.
It's actually a
Yeah,
lot.
No, for the whole village.
that's what I meant.
Yeah, just for all of us in the office. They're gonna start sending some fake phishing attempts. Oops, I didn't want the staff to hear that, so that they know not to click on these things. But they'll start doing this, and I'm sure in your company you get them all the time.
Constantly, we get them constantly in our.
But they're intentional fake ones from IT, and if you open it up, you get the nasty letter afterwards that says, you shouldn't have opened that up.
We have someone in our office that handles that.
Okay. I guess that's Gary.
No, not Gary, someone else. Make sure he yells at us when we open.
So I'll see how it goes. If it's worthwhile, then we'll add it on.
Yeah,
And again,
I think it's worth 150.
at first I wasn't convinced, but now there's so much this pest was.
You want something? I have
stealing.
LifeLock, and I added the dark web, and I've gotten 3 hits in this year so far. That's something on the dark. So it's worth it.
I've gone after you 5 times. They haven't caught those other 2, Frank.
You're not dark enough.
Oh, I'm dark. No, I'm dark. That's why they haven't caught the other 2.
It's worth $150.
All right. Well, I'll let you know after 3 months how the test goes. As you guys can see here, I have been slowly upgrading the boardroom equipment.
Yeah, it's really nice.
So the original quote, if you remember, to do all this was like $15,000. But Rich and I looked at everything and said, you know what, we can do this ourselves. So I did all this today. I just didn't have enough time to get everything perfected. Otherwise, we'd have the projector synced up to the monitor, synced up to the Microsoft Surface. I know. I got us a new PTZ camera with a new computer, so we'll have that. So we won't have a little cart anymore with the cable on the floor. So when Rich gets back from highway school,
Nice
we'll
work.
finish this up. So you'll see that next
And you
month.
saved a significant amount of money for the village.
Oh, you haven't got my bill yet, Frank. I've been under here cutting wires and splicing.
No, but you did
things.
save money.
A fortune, because this
Yeah.
is all going to cost us like under $2,000.
Wow.
Where do we get the labor?
Just bought it off the dark web.
Right.
There you go. There's our dark web.
So for those who have been following the village on Facebook, I have been posting more regularly than we have in the past. I'm trying to get more of a following so that we can use that as another communications tool to our residents. I will send you all the proposed calendar for the year. I've set out for like 1 a week or whatever, when something makes sense with a holiday or an event. And if you guys have anything to add, please let me know. I had a nice conversation with our garbage carter because I received a couple of complaints for some residents about some lack of recycling and maybe some dirt in the street and things like that. So Ronnie and I called up the carter. He was very apologetic. Some of the crews have changed a little bit. I had a guy, like a house by me at the end of Ridge Drive didn't get his garbage picked up. And I guarantee that was because the regular driver wasn't on the route probably that day. Because they always know to get to other people, to certain houses that are just hidden. So he'll keep a better eye on that and speak to his. And ever since, the people who have complained have said everything is perfect again. So
You guys are great.
we're good. No, they're great. They just, every so often they need just a
Albert?
reminder.
Albert rules.
I've been visiting our court, ARC zoning. I'm going to start meeting with our local elected officials. I have a couple of appointments set up. We're going out with hat in hand and trying to get us some grants because there's some worthy projects we're working on in the village. And I'd like to get those grants to help fund them. Northern Boulevard, I don't know if you've noticed this, but if you're coming over the viaduct, Frank, have you noticed the lights are on? So thank you, Ronnie. Ronnie has harassed the state for a couple of years. The lights from the viaduct all the way to Center Drive, there were no lights.
I noticed there's something wrong with our sign.
Oh, the stop sign? Yeah,
No,
Ronnie's.
the Flower Hill sign.
Welcome to
Welcome to Flower Hill.
Oh, I missed that. It's broken?
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
it's
No, it's
broken.
on.
Or it's on its side, or it's
Yeah.
crooked or
But
something.
I think that might have been one of the ones that Rich said, there's some that are too small for where they are.
That one is so
and-
tiny, you
and
need
broke.
like
It's
a.
like ridiculous that we're gonna
You're,
switch
you're
out.
going 50 miles an hour.
Oh, you're talking about the one over the viaduct?
Yeah.
Oh, that one. But the lights there, so you at nighttime, drive by, you'll be able to see the broken sign because the lights are finally on. After many
I
years,
was
they
just
finally
last
fixed the lights.
night, I didn't even notice the lights.
You don't know, I didn't notice it too, then all of a sudden I said, wait a second.
It's so bright.
They finally put the lights back up. The
I didn't
arms are
even
there, and the
notice.
lights were defective, and they finally replaced them.
I didn't even notice.
It's been years. It's been bothering
That's
me.
so funny.
What else? Oh, the park. So we had the Katie Apple Run on Sunday. I visited it. It was a great event. It ran very well. And one of the Roslyn residents did a Roslyn Flower Hill family meetup on Saturday. and that event was run very nicely. It was just an unofficial meetup, and thank you to our friends at Joanne's Pizza who donated pizza to the event. Max, did your kids have fun there?
Yeah, good time.
And the ice cream truck came,
The ice cream truck.
and he played a different song for once, which was very nice.
Was it Mel?
It wasn't the same annoying song.
Huh? Oh, was it Mel?
And then
I think Mel only
lastly,
controls Port Washington.
lastly, I will be sending, Jeff was kind enough to send me, Jeff was kind enough to send me a communication policy. We've had I've received some communication, and other members of the board perhaps, and maybe people who work in the village, have received some not nice communication from residents. So I'd like to address a policy on how to respond to emails that are bullying, threatening, harassment, not kind language. Everyone has free speech, but some of these emails that have come in are really just crossing the line on harassment and stuff. So it's a policy for us to look at. We'll make some changes to it, and I'll take all your input, and it's something we can put in just to address those types of issues. That's all from the mayor's report. Oh, maybe. Yes, Rhoda?
This is completely different. The gas station at the corner of Northern Boulevard and Port Washington Boulevard, they are continuing to exit on the easterly entrance. And they have to in order to get into the line of traffic. However, that's marked as an entrance, not as an exit. Can we repaint it? You can make your exit the one that's more westerly. That's easy to do. But you have to, they're in the wrong location.
I don't know if that's something that's under our jurisdiction.
So if I remember from days of old when and Ronnie was here then, when they rebuilt the gas station, there was possibly a traffic study
Yeah,
done,
there should have been a.
and the
second
traffic
one.
engineer made the recommendations. Rhoda, a traffic engineer made the recommendations.
Ability to get it into traffic
Okay.
at the westerly exit point close to Port Washington.
Well, if you're not making the right hand, yeah,
Only
you're trying to get on
go to your right or maybe into that immediate lane.
I think that plan was approved by the state. Ronnie,
It has
can you
to be,
check the
it's
records?
25A, it has to be state.
I think that
It's
I
two
think that
state
was
roads
approved
that-
by the
It's a
state,
state
and
intersection.
I don't think we can
Yeah.
change it on our own. But you might know better,
You
Rhoda.
have to go through, somebody, you know.
The problem is if you pull in off Port Washington Boulevard and you're facing east with your car,
West.
it's very hard to go all the way around the islands
going
then
backwards.
and come and then go all the way.
It's a problem.
So people just pull right, you pull right out.
Back.
I don't think that's the case for that
That's
reason.
why you don't know.
All right, we can look,
Right in the corner, you can't.
we can look into that. But again, Ronnie, check the records and see if it was, I think the state,
I think it's a DOT issue because they're both state highways.
Yeah.
I think that plan had to be approved by the state, if I remember. This is like
Yeah.
15 years ago.
Right, our house, same thing. DOT had approved their.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, Gary, you want to give us a quick sewer study update? You're the committee of
Yeah.
one.
Committee of one.
It's gonna be real quick.
Yeah, very quick. Had a conversation, but we still need to go back to, I need to actually get up with Steve on certain points of the RFP, so.
Okay.
We have work to do still.
All right. Any old business, Ronnie, that we have?
Not that I've heard.
Any-
I don't have any. to
Any
support.
new business? I don't have any new business.
Good.
Thank you, Rhoda, for the history report, which I don't have a chance to read yet. Our next public meeting is Monday, July 11th. I think we're going to go to executive session, correct, Jeff?
Is there a motion then to go into executive session? to speak with council?
I will make that motion. Do I have a second?
Trustee Lewandowski seconds the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right. Well, I thank everybody for coming. I'm going to turn off the camera system.
Peter, like 50 older fields. I remember doing, proposing more subjects.
Can't go earlier.